Never talk about my children again. My children!
Keep screaming, Gina!
My children!
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 17, Reunion Part 1. Now, before we get started, let me just state the obvious and apologize to you guys because I did fall off with OC. It's just been a very busy time and I found myself so behind. I said, well, what's the point of me even reviewing? But a few of you guys hit me on Instagram and said, Brooke, I don't care. I just want a review. Please do the reunion. So I said, you know what? I got you. But I have a lot to say. This season has been something. These ladies were trying to run Heather Dubrow off this show. And I've said this many times before, but this season of Orange County is the clear representation of what jealousy looks like. When you are around insecure and jealous people who are upset that you're shining and you're elevating and you're doing well and you're living well and you're looking good, and they feel like, how dare you? How dare you outshine us? So now they want to get together and dim your light and try to destroy you. But God is so good because it didn't work. The way Heather got them all together in that finale episode, I said, yes, ma'am. And I don't care how controversial this is to say, but I think that Heather needs to be on a show where everybody's on her level, like Beverly Hills, because again, she's just doing too well for them. And we see what happens when you're doing too well. People want to bring you down. And for some reason, people have this twisted idea that it's this zero-sum game where because you're doing well, then that means that they're losing. And that's not how it is. Everybody can win. But these women are too insecure and too stupid to realize that Heather's blessings don't take anything away from them. And I don't mean to go off on a tangent. I don't mean to get preachy, but this season really hit home for me because I've been going through this as well, because things have really just taken off for me. And when I wasn't doing well, everybody was there blowing my phone up, wanting to go out to eat, wanting to hang out. They want to hear all the bad things happening. And now God has truly blessed me in all areas of my life. And when I tell you that my phone, aside from my romantic life, friendship-wise, the phone has been drier than a Popeye's biscuit. And it's such a shame when you've celebrated everybody else, you've gone to their events, you've celebrated their milestones, and now when it's your turn and you're doing well and nobody's there for you, and people will even say it outright that they're feeling a type of way because you're doing well, you really see that it's crazy out here. And you have to be evenly yoked in your friendships. And that's the issue in this group. Heather's not evenly yoked with these ladies. And because of that, they feel insecure around her and they want to project their shortcomings and their insecurities onto Heather. And that's not Heather's issue. And it's such a shame that you see in real life that people don't want you to do well. And I know that sounds cynical and that sounds pessimistic and it sounds like I'm paranoid, but I am so serious. Strangers will celebrate you more than the people that you've known. It's a crazy dynamic. But guys, let's just jump right on into this recap because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. Now, let me just start off by saying that fashion-wise, when it comes to OC, I feel like the OC ladies are always the most casual out of everybody. If I had to choose my favorite looks, it would be Heather's and Jen. I thought they looked great. So anyhow, we started off with Andy going around greeting the ladies, and he's asking Tamra how she feels to be on pause. Tamra says that she was nervous to come back, and that's why she drank so much this season. I said, girl, stop trying to make excuses for being a jackass. You don't need an excuse to be evil. You're always evil 24/7. You were just as hateful as you wanted to be this season. So Andy compliments Emily and her weight loss. We find out that Emily lost 40 pounds. Then he turns to Gina. he congratulates Gina on being a licensed real estate agent. And we find out from Gina that she actually has 2 homes in escrow. Now, my question for everybody at home is, who is trusting Gina to sell them a house? That's what I want to know.
No.
I wouldn't buy a bag of chips from Gina, much less a house, but I digress. And a quick question for everybody. Why did they choose to gloss over the drama that was going on with Gina and Travis? Remember that whole story? That there was a whole incident between them? So now we started off with Tamra's segment, and now Andy's asking Tamra where her and Shannon stand right now. Are they still good? And Tamra and Shannon both say that they're in a good place, and they're pretty much like sisters. They have their ups and their downs, but they're still really close. They talk all the time, and when they have issues with each other, they'll call each other on the phone and talk directly. And I'm curious to find out how close they are now since Shannon got this DUI. Because we know how evil Tamra is. She will turn on you like that. I'll bet you guys money that Tamra's going around the group talking about Shannon like a dog since this happened. And Emily shows how pathetic she is each and every episode, because Andy reads a viewer question asking Emily how is she able to forgive Tamra after all the nasty things that Tamra said about her in prior seasons. So here goes Emily making excuses. She's like, well, honestly, it's because Tamra didn't know me that well. That's why. And I said, girl, be honest for once in your life. You want to be up Tamra's ass because you finally want to feel like you're a cool girl. That's what it is. Because there is no way that somebody who made fun of my looks, made fun of my job, my career, just my whole personality, there's no way in hell that we would ever be talking and joking around and that I would even give them the opportunity to be my friend. That's not happening. And Emily, let me get you together yet again, because you really pissed me off in the finale episode when you went on to say that you believe that Heather called you a loser. After she explained to you that she was not the one to call you a loser, it was Tamra. You still want to talk about, well, it's because I felt like a loser when I was a kid and I still feel that way at my core. I don't know why. So that's why I was so quick to believe that Heather said that. Baby, your self-esteem issues are not Heather Dubrow's problem. That's between you and God and you and a therapist. I am so sick and tired of people trying to dump all their issues on somebody else because they're jealous of somebody. I was too done. And Heather is better and classier than I am, because I would have worn you out right then and there at Gina's party. And also, how is Gina able to pay for that party?
Ladies, may we get a word?
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
Here's where I wanted to jump through that TV and get Tamra together. Because the way Tamra will turn herself into a victim, knowing good and damn well that she's the issue behind everything, truly blows me. And the fact that they all sit there and allow it, I was done. So Tamra says that she felt a way towards Heather because Heather had said on her podcast that there's no room for Tamra on the show. So Heather says, let me get you together, sis, because I didn't say that. My co-host said that. So now Tamra says, well, that hurt my feelings. I was really sad. Now, Heather, why in the entire hell were you apologizing? You didn't do anything wrong. And also, Tamra, who knew that you were so sensitive? As reckless at the mouth as you are? And on top of that, don't you have a podcast with Teddy Mellencamp? And you guys talk so much stuff about everybody on the other franchises. So now all of a sudden you want to talk about, oh, well, my feelings were hurt because you and your co-host were talking about me. But you talk about everybody else. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I just said, Heather, you're going to piss me off if you apologize to her. You didn't do anything wrong. And Tamra, how dare you make yourself out to be the victim? And then when Tamra said, no, I didn't turn the girls against you. Like, yes, you did. You went around the group talking about how pretentious Heather is, how snobby she is, how you don't like her, how she's this and that. You got everybody against her. And you know that Gina and Emily are so desperate for your approval, they easily jumped on the bandwagon. And Tamra, that was such a reach for you to say that Heather went to Andy talking about her and to not bring her back on the show. And Heather clocked you yet again. She said, girl, let's not do that. She said, I am such a small cog in the Andy Cohen wheel that when I do get 5 minutes on the phone with Andy, I am not talking about you. I have my own stuff going on. I said, I know that's right. And let's use our brains for a minute, Tamra. Andy has said repeatedly in several interviews and even in his own book that the housewives call him 24/7. He's always on the phone with one of the housewives at any given time. You think that when any of these women are on the phone with him, they're talking about somebody else? No. They're probably on that phone trying to negotiate a better deal for themselves, better contracts, more money. Nobody has time to be focused on somebody else. They only get a good 5 minutes with him on the phone because he's so busy. So I can assure you that Heather Dubrow is not worried and talking about Tamra Judge when she's on the phone with Andy Cohen. So now we get to Jen's segment, and when I tell you, I have quite a few thoughts about her and Ryan's relationship, because the more stuff that got exposed, I said, Jen, I was rooting for you and Ryan. And while I was saying that they need to mind their business and he could change, I'm starting to doubt it. I feel like, girl, you might want to find yourself another man, because I really don't think that Ryan is it. So anyhow, Andy compliments Jen on being a foster mom and how she adopted her son Dominic. And Jen said that she loved fostering and she feels like she got into it because she felt like her ex-husband Will wasn't giving her the love that she needed. So because of that, she felt like she got that love in other ways, by her children and then fostering other kids. And let me just say, I think that Jen has been a fantastic addition to this show. But Jen, you had me a bit pissed off with you in the finale episode when you turned against Heather too. I said, girl, the way Tamra has disrespected you all season long, threw a napkin in your face, revealed all your business with you and Ryan, and you want to turn on Heather Dubrow, who's actually been in your corner? You have me real messed up with that. I said, girl, I don't know about you now. So now Gina interjects and she says, I just want to quickly say that Jen did not destroy her family. So Jen says, thank you for that. That means a lot. And I just said, Gina, shut up. It's not your time to talk. It's all about Jen right now, and nobody's waiting on your approval. Who are you? So Andy shares that they invited Ryan to come to the reunion and tell his side of the story, and Jen says that he declined because he already knew that it wouldn't be a good look for him to sit there and argue with Tamra. So she's like, he just opted out because it wasn't a win-win situation. Now, I understand why Ryan didn't want to come, but I also feel like Ryan didn't want to be on the hot seat because I feel like the math ain't mathin', especially about when they took this break and when he slept with that other woman. I just feel like he was worried that more stuff would come out and he didn't want to be confronted. That's why I really feel like he didn't want to show up. So now Andy wants to know if Ryan plans on proposing to her. And of course, Emily jumps in and she's talking about, oh, well, didn't you feel like he was only ring shopping just for the cameras? And Jen says, no, it wasn't for the show. We talk about marriage all the time. He wants to move in. He wants us to blend our families together. And he's ready for that next step. That's what he always tells me. Now, I want to stop right here because I looked up what Ryan does for a living, and all I could find was that he owns his own company. Now, I don't know what this company does. And when you look up his net worth, it says he's worth between $90,000 and $1 million. That's a large gap. I find that to be a bit alarming. Also, I do feel like he was ring shopping for the show. And I don't think that Ryan has money to be able to take care of Jen, her 5 children, and his 2 kids. Because what was troubling to me in that finale episode, when she was crying to Ryan about how she needed $5,000 to retain a lawyer to finalize the divorce from Will, and instead of him being her knight in shining armor and him being a provider like he claims to be, when he said to her, I'd love to give you the money, but is there anybody else you can call to get it? And I said, what? I said, so Jen, you are sleeping with this man who has a checkered past when it comes to being faithful, and you can't even go to your man for money? That's a problem. I said, this man is a joke. There's no way I'm going to be laying next to a man and I ask for money and he's telling me, well, can you ask somebody else? No. What I just said, Jen, I don't think that he even has the money to propose to you. I kind of get the impression that he's sticking by Jen's side because she has some fame now and he feels like he could profit off of it. Because look at Shannon and John. We found out this season that Shannon was paying for all their dates and she's sliding John money. So I just said, a hot mess. I feel like, Jen, you need to watch out. So now Andy wants to know who in the group believes that Jen had a physical affair instead of having an emotional affair like she told everybody. So of course Tamra raises her hand and she says that she believes that Ryan and Jen were having sex because when they had went on vacation together to Mexico, Ryan had confided in her and Eddie that they were having sex. And then she goes on to add that Ryan had said outright that he was having an affair with Jen. Then Jen wants to know from Tamra, when did things shift? Like, why is Tamra being so mean to her? So Tamra says, things shifted for me when Ryan cheated on you. So now Jen, of course, says that they were on a break. And now we find out that the break was only a 2-week break. Now, I'm an all or nothing girl. If you want to take a break, that's fine, but it's going to be a permanent break. It's giving placeholder energy to take constant breaks. Absolutely not. You're either all in or all out. And then taking a break at y'all's big ages? Absolutely not. Now, let me quickly say this. It seems like some of you guys are confused when I use the term big age. You do know that it's not a slight about your age. Like, it's not being ageist. It just means that you're old enough to know better. So I use that for anybody. So whether you are 21, 31, 41, 51, I feel like over the age of 18, there are some things that you should know. Act like you've got some sense. If I get stupid, I'll be like, now girl, why would you do that? At your big age, acting like this. Like, I use it for everybody. So just want to clear up any confusion that anybody has. So Tamra and Jen are going back and forth. Heather jumps in and she's asking, why is Jen being blamed for Ryan's actions? And I do agree. I feel like have this smoke for Ryan, not for Jen. And it really shows you how a woman will be blamed and pretty much targeted over a stupid decision that her man made. I can't stand that. And we see that play out a lot of times, especially in celebrity couples where the husband stepped out or did something stupid. And now everybody's saying, oh, well, what did she do? Obviously, she did something to drive him to that point. I just don't like how the blame is always on the woman. I can't stand that. So Jen goes on to say that at the end of the day, it's nobody's business. And she's like, Tamra, I just don't get it. You brought me on this show to then turn on me. So Tamra's like, girl, I didn't bring you on the show. Let's be clear. Actually, Emily and Gina were the ones who approached you. When you came on this show, we weren't even speaking. Do you guys notice that every time a friend joins the show, we always find out later that the person that we thought that they were so close to, they weren't even the ones to have brought them on the show? I was really surprised to hear that Emily and Gina approached her first and not Tamra. But either way, it doesn't matter. If Tamra and Jen were close at one point, there's a certain amount of respect that Tamra should have given to Jen. That was just really cruel to dog this woman out, and you've known her for all those years. So we all know that Tamra has the emotional intelligence of a flea. So she's sitting up there name calling, and she says that Jen is the one who's a cheater. I just said, what a low blow. Again, I will never see it for Tamra. I think that that woman is evil. And the fact that she can turn around and try to make herself out to be the victim is comical. So even Andy steps in and he says, well, honestly, Tamra, that is the viewer's perception that you brought your friend on this show to leave her hanging. So now Tamra says, look, when Jen got on this show, I told her, just be honest because things aren't adding up. Now, at this point, I just felt bad for Jen because it seemed like Tamra had all these receipts about Ryan. And I just said, I don't see how Jen could even want to continue this relationship. Tamra reveals that last year, Jen and Ryan were at a concert in San Diego, and Ryan was right next to her, texting another woman saying, hey, I want you in my bed. So now you have Jen talking about, oh, well, I saw the text messages, I know what happened. And I'm thinking, girl, what? Is everything okay, Jen? You don't have to accept this. So now Tamra pulls out these receipts, and they're text messages between Ryan and this woman. And those texts were a mess. Even Andy was like, wait, did this happen when you guys were on a break or when you were together? So Jen says, no, I'm confused. I'm like, wait, so Jen, you saw these messages while you guys were together? Is everything all right? And I really felt bad for Jen because we find out that this same woman sent Ryan some naked pictures of herself when Ryan and Jen were away in the Bahamas. And Jen's face looked so hurt. And I just said, girl, again, you can do a lot better than Ryan. So now Shannon says that she just feels bad for Jen. And now here goes Emily, and she's like, Shannon, shut up. No, you don't, because all season long, you were saying that you wanted the truth to come out and you wanted it to all be revealed about what's going on in their relationship. And I said, Emily, nobody's talking to you. It all felt like Emily was performing the whole entire time. And the fact that she was sitting at the end is clear that Miss Mamas is scared to death about being fired. And like I've told you guys, Emily brings absolutely nothing to this franchise. Her and Gina can go. So now the whole topic of Ryan accidentally sending everybody in his contact list a picture of his penis gets brought up. So now Tamra calls out Jen and she's like, can you clarify, Jen? Because you told us two different stories about what actually happened. And now you have Emily jumping on the bandwagon yet again. And even she calls out Jen. She's like, Jen, you did give us two different stories about how that happened. Now, I really felt bad for Jen. It was clear that she felt defeated in this moment. Nothing that she said was going to make anything better. It was obvious that Tamra also wanted to take her down and just let everybody know that Ryan is a cheater. Jen goes on to say that she's in love with Ryan, he's in love with her, and she's never felt love like this before. I just said, Jen, at the end of the day, it's your life, your relationship. If you like it, I love it. But I really don't see this ending well with you and Ryan. I don't. Just my 2 cents. I think that he's an opportunist. I think that it's going to be hard for him to really commit to one woman. The fact that we're finding out that he was sending pictures to somebody else while you're on vacation with him, all these breaks, he's messaging somebody else while you guys are at a concert together. Red flags, girl, but again, it's your life, do what you want to do. And we wrap up Jen's segment with Tamra apologizing. She says that the only reason why she lashed out because she felt like Jen was protecting Ryan and making her out to be a liar. Honestly, Tamra, just save these fake apologies. You don't mean it. So now Taylor comes out, and I'm not even gonna hold you. I thought that Taylor's look was a complete miss. And that's no shade, but I was not feeling it at all. So anyhow, Heather's already pissed to see her. She's just like, Taylor's been shitting on me all over the press. Don't want to see her. And I honestly felt like they could have had Taylor phone in because she didn't bring anything this season. What did she really give us? Nothing. She was a flop. So now we get to Heather's segment, and we started off by discussing Terry's stroke. Now, Terry had a stroke in the summer, and Heather reveals that Terry had the stroke right in front of her. It was traumatic. She was like, we need to go to the hospital immediately, and Terry refused to go. She said that he went into an Uber. She had to chase him down Beverly Hills until he finally decided to go get checked out. And so the doctor comes out and says, you just had a stroke. So she's like, again, I still haven't processed it yet. I can't believe that it happened. And she says that she's going to have her breakdown after this reunion. I said, girl, I know that's right. If you want to cry for a whole week, go ahead and do it. I am all for setting aside some time to just cry and feel your emotions, because life gets hard and you need to just release. And she's been through a lot. It was a really traumatic season for her. Then the stroke, then 2 kids going off to college. I'm sure she does need a breakdown. And those reunions are heavy, so I get it. I say, girl, cry yourself away, because I would do the same thing too. So here's where the BS pops off. Andy brings up the movie that Taylor wanted Heather to be in, and Taylor's like, oh yeah, we replaced Heather's role. We got a really big time actor to fill her role. And I just said, was that necessary? And either way, Heather has a boatload of money. That little shade, I would have paid it dust. But I just said, you see how these ladies can't help themselves? They always have to find a way to throw a dig at Heather, because she has them that pressed. So now Andy reads a viewer comment saying that they agree with Taylor that Heather was condescending when she said, oh, you're so cute, about the movie. Now, a quick side note. I didn't think that that was condescending at all. That's how Heather talks. I don't know why they took offense to that, but like I've said, when people are jealous of you, they're going to find fault with anything that you do or say. So Heather can't win with this group. But anyhow, Taylor says that that's just how Heather is, so she's used to her being condescending. Then she goes on to say that when she told Heather that the movie was going to be in Oklahoma, Heather said, oh, where's Oklahoma? So Heather says, excuse me, I wasn't being condescending. I wasn't being shady. I legit don't know where Oklahoma is. Geography isn't my strong suit. And Heather is a lot nicer than I am, because Heather, I would not have apologized for that. When you said that wasn't my intention, I'm really sorry. Again, Heather, it would have been like, that's your insecurity talking. That's your issue. I'm not apologizing for anything, because you're trying to make me out to be this snob that I'm not. She can't help the fact that she's extremely rich. What is she supposed to do? Apologize for having money? Like, I don't know what you guys want from her. It's crazy. I was completely blown when Andy brought up the comments that Tamra made about Heather hasn't worked since the 1900s. And Tamra still wouldn't fess up to it. I just said, Tamra, they rolled the tapes back. The show has aired. Heather saw it along with everybody else. Just own up to it. Just apologize. Why is that so difficult? But again, how silly of me to think that Tamra would actually take accountability and apologize. She's not capable. It's like trying to get blood out of a turnip. It's just not happening. And Tamra loves to gaslight, because she was like, I was just joking. It was just good fun. I wasn't making fun of you. So Heather's like, well, that's not how I took it. I didn't feel that way. I feel like you were really trying to dismiss my acting career. So now Heather makes a great point, and she says, Tamra, how would you feel if I made a remark about Cut Fitness closing? What if I said, well, that's a shame. It wasn't like it was Equinox or something. You would be pissed. So here goes Tamra talking about, oh, well, actually, if you said that, I wouldn't care, because it's just a joke. And Heather's like, but that's not the point. The point is, I'm your friend. And that's a shitty thing to say to somebody. Now, Tamra, let me clock you yet again, because we all know that you're lying. If anybody made a joke about Cut Fitness closing, you would have cursed them and their mother out. We saw how you got defensive when Gina tried to lie on Jen and said that Jen was making fun of Cut Fitness closing. You got mad and you were about to curse Jen out. That was episode, what, 4? So how dare you lie, talk about, oh, well, I wouldn't care if you made a joke. Yes, you would. You'd be the first one saying, she's looking down on me. Who does she think she is? What a snob. Who would say that? You'd be calling her everything but a child of God had Heather made a joke about your gym closing. And you do care, because you were crying about it for 4 or 5 episodes about having to close down Cut Fitness. So again, sis, let's not play this game. Tamra is such a liar. It's anything not to apologize, anything to not take accountability. I can't stand it. So now you have Taylor calling out Heather, and she says, you know what, Heather? You calling me anti-female was so shitty, and don't you ever call me anti-female again. I've raised so much money for domestic violence survivors and women and children. Again, don't you ever say that I'm anti-female. And I said, Taylor, while that's all fine and well, 2 things can be true at the same time. While I'm very happy to hear that you've raised a lot of money for a worthy cause, that does not take away from what Heather said about you in that moment. and you know it. You laughing at Heather's career and trying to dismiss her and say, well, you know, what was she in? She hasn't worked since the 1990s. She had every right to say that about you. And girl, take that bass out of your voice, talk about, and don't you dare. And what, girl? What if I don't? What are you gonna do? Like, I was so upset. I just said, Taylor, you have the audacity. So of course it becomes a whole pile on against Heather. Tamra brings up when they were leaving Montana, they were at the airport. Heather ran into a producer and Heather said, oh my goodness, get me off of this show. I can't take it anymore. And Tamra says, it's stuff like that, Heather, that makes us all feel bad. Like, wow, why would she say that? You want to get off the show with us because we're lower than you? And I said, y'all will not sit up here and twist this woman's words. You know good and damn well that you guys all get frustrated throughout filming a season. Because let's be real, anybody would feel exhausted when they have to constantly battle people every single day that they're filming this show. That's tiring for anybody and their mental health. So for you to act like you were so offended because she bumped into one of her friends in the industry and said, girl, get me off this show, I'm so tired. Like, it's just anything to try to take her down and it's not working. So Heather defends herself and she says, yes, I did say that. I was just frustrated because you guys had ganged up on me in Montana and I was upset. And I said, exactly. It's not a crime. You're allowed to vent. The way that they gaslight you, sis, I would have said the same thing. They can't tell you what to say. You can say whatever you want to say about them. The way Tamra talks about everybody on this cast like a dog, but she wants all this respect. I was done, y'all. I was so done. I just cannot take the way they gaslight Heather. It's disgusting. So Heather goes on to say that she's extremely grateful for this platform. And even though she's frustrated, she's still very thankful to be on the show. So of course you have Tamra talking about, you think that you're better than us? I said, no, you think that she's better than you. And anytime you hear somebody say that, just know that they're operating from a place of insecurity. Because when you're secure, you don't care about other people feeling good about themselves. And anybody who's threatened by your confidence is jealous of you. Be very clear and stay away from them. And I'm petty. I would have said, you know what, you're right, I am better than you. Just for shits and giggles, because you want to keep saying that, so let's go. I'm not doing this. I'm not dimming my light for anybody. Everybody should feel like they're the baddest when they walk in the room. Everybody. And I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you look like. You need to be like, no, I'm the baddest. I'm one of one, like Beyonce said. If everybody had that confidence, this world would be a better place. Everybody would stay in their own lane and there wouldn't be any jealousy or comparison. But so many weak minds are sitting up there looking at somebody else instead of trying to perfect their own life. Because I also feel like when you're jealous, you have too much time on your hands, because when you're truly that girl, you have too much going on to even compare your life to somebody else's. So here goes pathetic Emily jumping in, and she says, Heather, did you stick up for me when Tamra was making fun of me being a lawyer, saying that I'm not a lawyer, I'm a fake lawyer, I'm a party planner instead? You didn't stick up for me, but you want to say that Taylor's anti-female? And I said, but when have you stuck up for Heather? I'll wait. You want all this one-sided loyalty. Heather does not owe you any loyalty. This whole entire season, you've been on Heather's ass talking about, oh, Heather, you think that you're better than everybody? You make me feel bad. You're this, that, and the third. But yet you want Heather to come to your defense because Tamra was talking about you? If anything, be mad at Tamra. I said these women are operating with some pea-brain logic because I'm confused. And Heather, you're way too nice, because when you said, you know what, you're right, Emily, I could have stuck up for you. I said, Heather, what are you saying? The way I be paying Emily dust. Y'all, it's actually a blessing in disguise that I didn't review the remainder of the season, because I think that every single recap would have been me just yelling. So now Andy reads a viewer question asking Heather, why didn't she reveal the sale of her house? Was it because of the press, or because she really felt like the rest of the group wouldn't be happy for her? So you have Tamra interject, and she's like, we were all happy for you and the sale of your house. And Heather's like, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I believe that. Because it seemed like every time I said something, you guys were just upset with me, like I couldn't win. So now Andy reads yet another viewer question, and it's the question that we all want to know. They ask Heather if she believes that they're all jealous of her. Now, Heather, you are the epitome of elegance and grace even in the midst of dealing with your enemies? Because my answer would have been completely different. Heather says, no, I don't subscribe to that. I said, Heather, there is nothing wrong with setting the record straight, especially in a situation like this where these women are gaslighting the hell out of you and they clearly hate you. We don't have to think too deeply into this. They are jealous of her. Period, point blank, full stop. And Heather, you know good and damn well that that was the reason why you didn't want to say anything about the sale of your house, because you know that when it comes to jealousy and envy and all that energy, it can mess things up if you discuss your plans prematurely. Why I always say to move in silence, because that protects you from people and their evil energy ruining what you have going on. And also, Shannon, you let it slip out in, I think, episode 13 or 14, that you were jealous when you found out that Terry and Heather sold that beautiful home for $55 million. You were like, well, damn, I am jealous. I could use that money, like $55 million. Wow. So Heather goes on to say that she's a very self-aware person, a very self-actualized person, and she's just sad at this divide in the group and how these women are against her. I said, Heather, we know that you're self-aware. I think that you're very down to earth. You're a very pleasant person. But I think that you cannot win when jealousy is in the midst. You can't. That's a very evil spirit, somebody who's jealous of you. You can't be friends with anybody jealous of you. You better run. If you find out that somebody's jealous of you, you better, child, you better say, shout out to everybody. I have fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
And I will never subscribe to that idea of, oh, it's a normal emotion. Everybody feels it. No, everybody doesn't feel it. Don't put that on everybody. Just because you struggle with that, don't put that on everybody else, honey. Everybody don't struggle with jealousy. There are individuals who are happy for people. Trust. And Emily's hatred of Heather was seeping out because she jumps in and she's like, do you think that the reason why you're so isolated is the fact that you don't have a sense of humor and that you're offended by everything? Get a sense of humor. And I just said, Emily, how dare you? You have been riding Heather all season long. Just say that you're just so envious and you feel so small around this woman. Set yourself free, honey, because it is clear that Heather has you shook. You really feel tiny around her. She really makes you feel some sort of way. And it's sad and it's pathetic. You need to get some help. Work on yourself. Be the best you can be so that way you won't even feel a way when another bad bitch walks in the room. Because you're looking jealous, insecure. You need help. And Heather was just so irritated. She didn't even say anything. I said, you know what, Heather, I get it. Because at a certain point, just give people your silence. I know I always talk about, tell somebody off, stand up for yourself. There's a time and a place for that. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to just pay folks dust and give them your silence. I'm so serious. Now, I forgot that Taylor was still there. But she says, Heather, may I say something to you? I just want you to know that we did have a nice talk that one day, and I do want you to know that I am here for you. So Heather's like, girl, I hear what you're saying, but stop shading me on social media, stop shading me in the press, and then me and you can be okay. So Taylor's like, wait, what? When did I shade you? So Heather's like, girl, go on your Instagram and look at your archive posts. You've been shading me all over social media. Like, let's not do that. I said, get her. So Andy finally dismisses Taylor. I said, thank God, because she brought nothing. And now we close out the reunion with Gina segment. I'm not going to hold you guys. You guys know I don't like Gina. I don't see it for Gina. So I'm not going to spend too much time on her segment. I'm just not. But anyhow, Andy starts it off by asking Gina, why was she judging Jen's affair? And Gina says that the reason why she was judging Jen so harshly because she was cheated on by her ex-husband, Matt, and it was a trigger for her. So she's like, when somebody cheats on you, your mental health suffers, your self-esteem suffers. It was just a really big deal. Then Gina goes on to say that she was more affected by the cheating than she was when Matt put his hands on her. And she goes on to say that the reason why she forgave that so easily it was an isolated incident. Now, if I have to be extremely honest, I believe that Gina is still in love with her ex-husband. I remember one of the episodes this season when her and her ex-husband and his new girlfriend and Travis were at the playground with the kids. And the way Gina seems like she's still so giddy around him and they're joking around, it just felt like her face still lights up. And I don't see that when she's with Travis. I just don't. Now Andy reads a viewer question asking Heather, why was she so against Gina talking to Travis about her ex-husband and her being cheated on and how she's still sad about that. And Heather says, look, I haven't had a boyfriend in 30 years, okay? I've been married all that time. All I'm saying is that when I was dating, I was always taught that you don't talk to your current partner about your ex because that brings about insecurities and problems. Like I was told that was a no-no. So here goes Emily sticking her nose in and she's like, but it's different though, Heather, because she's in a blended family with Travis and his kids. And I just said, Emily, shut up. You're everybody's spokesperson today. Nobody's talking to you. I was on Heather's side when she told Gina, stop talking to your current man about your ex-man. Nobody wants to hear that. Heather did not say anything wrong, but because Gina's so immature and she can't hear any advice, she wants to get upset. But I was right there with Heather. I said, Heather, I agree. I just said, you know what, Heather, next time, don't give advice. Let people do what they want to do. Because when you try to help people, people get mad and they say, why'd you say that to me? So I said, you know what, girl, I know your heart was in the right place, but the fact that Gina snapped at you, next time, don't say a word. Let her do what she wants to do. And if I'm being honest, I don't see any chemistry or attraction or romance between Gina and Travis. So now the whole topic about Shannon bringing up how she helped Gina when Gina got her DUI 4 years ago. Child, I said how the tables turned because while Shannon and Gina went back and forth about that, I just said, Shannon, you need to thank God that they filmed this reunion days before you got arrested for your DUI. And just so you know, Shannon, the fact that you got this DUI, you are aware that you're keeping Gina on this show for another 2 or 3 seasons. And Gina is about to blast you every chance she gets because you got this DUI. You do know that. I said, you have put a battery in Gina's back. A hot damn mess. I just said, girl, you talked about Gina like a dog all those seasons, how you helped her, and now look at you. So now Andy goes on to ask Gina if Shannon ever apologized to her about what she said regarding CPS taking her children away when she got that DUI 4 years ago. And Shannon says, I did apologize to Gina at the pumpkin patch. And I said, let's play the tapes back, Shannon, because you did not apologize to Gina. You said, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Why would Jen say that? So now Shannon says that she felt like Jen was stirring the pot to even tell Gina that in the first place. I said, the way you, Tamra, and Emily run your mouths and run back and tell who said what, now you want to say that Jen is stirring the pot? Shannon, you were wrong. While I can't stand Gina, you were wrong for what you said. That was so evil of you to make that comment about CPS coming to take her kids away. And also, if you help somebody, you can't keep reminding them every single time. Because obviously it seems like you want Gina to be beholden to you. Because if that's your friend and you helped her out, it's done. Don't mention it again. It's enough already. And Shannon, you really have me messed up because it's always a bad day when I'm on Gina's side about anything. But you were wrong in this case. And I was waiting for you to give Gina an apology saying, you know what, Gina, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. So now Shannon says that the reason why she said that because Heather told her that she was talking about her and John's relationship. I just said, Shannon, you know good and well that you are reaching right now. Just apologize and let's move on. But these bogus excuses trying to justify why you did what you did, you're wrong. Just own it. So now Gina calls Shannon out. She's like, girl, you don't even know the names of my children. Shannon's like, yes, I do. So Gina says, name them. Shannon only knew one of the kids' names. She was like, Sienna and the other two. And Gina said, exactly. So keep my family's name out your mouth. So now Andy goes on to ask Shannon, how did she feel when she saw the episode air where she actually did say that about Gina's kids being taken away by CPS. And Shannon says, I was mortified. I felt so bad. So Gina says, if you felt bad, why didn't you text me like, girl, I'm sorry? At this point, Gina's screaming at the top of her lungs. And now we see Emily interrupt because that's all she's done all episode long. I said, girl, nobody is talking to you. Just shut your mouth. I said, poor thing. She really is fighting for her life. She is fighting to remain on this show by any means possible. Bravo, if you guys are listening, please consider either demoting Emily to friend of or just firing her. Because I can't take another season with her on it. I can't. It's bad enough that Tamra's back. It's bad enough that Gina has been on this show now for 5 years. Somebody's got to go. But Emily goes on to say that since everybody in this group is a mother, that's one of the most hurtful things you can say, to even insinuate that their kids would be taken away. And she says that that's as low as you can go. And then she goes on to address Shannon and says that Shannon is being defensive instead of apologizing. Now at this point, Shannon, I said, girl, just apologize. Why is that so difficult? You screwed up. Just say, you know what, Gina, I was out of line. I'm sorry. I know how much that hurt you and your family. I'm really sorry for that. That was so nasty of me to say. I was drunk. That's not an excuse. But again, I'm sorry. So at this point, Gina's pretty much sobbing. She's like, you put clickbait out there for my kids to see. Like, my kids are approaching the age where they're going to have social media and be able to access the internet. And there might be a time where they see this and they're going to ask me, Mommy, were we going to be taken away? And the fact that you would do that. Then Gina goes on to say that this is a wound that will stay with her forever. And because Shannon crossed a major boundary, she's unsure if she can even continue to do this show. And that's where the first part of this reunion ends. Now, let me just say one thing before we close out. Gina, I know that you're hurt. You have every right to be upset with Shannon because what she said was unforgivable and it was evil. But we know that when Bravo hands you your contract for season 18, you will be signing it gladly. So I said, I don't know who you're trying to fool. I know you think it sounds good, it sounds edgy, but we all know, sis, that you will be back on this show for this coin and this fame. But guys, I will see you all for part 2. And it's actually the last part. I said, well, damn, the girls can't get 3 parts anymore because this season actually gave something. But anyway, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.